Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and in some places, of course, if you're on the other side of the planet, good evening to some. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. BoomStick has had one heck of a morning. A lot of personal stuff going on, but needless to say, we're going to be okay. We got hit in the pocketbook a little bit, which we weren't happy about. But again, at the end of the day, we're gonna make it. But we have a show for you today, and this show is one of those shows where the righteous smoke is going to be handed to Microsoft by a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people on the panel. We all know that Microsoft currently is $1 trillion company looking to buy another billion-dollar company in Activision for $70 billion. So both entities, let's just say, are rich. But in business, we understand that sometimes moves must be made in order to forward your business. One of the breaking stories from yesterday that sent the internet ablaze, folks, was the Xbox officially announcing that they're raising the prices of first-party games by $10, joining the ranks of Sony Interactive Entertainment, i.e. PlayStation, 2K Games, Activision, Blizzard. The only one left on the table who has not joined the $70 club is Nintendo. Which their first-party games are still $60. I have a feeling that changes next year because they are publishing the Game of the Year edition of Elder Scrolls V for the Switch, and that game is $70. That game was not priced by Microsoft, though it was in fact priced by Nintendo because they are publishing that game. But we're going to get into it. And folks, normally we have gameplay for you, but we have one of the best panels I have put together as quickly as I've ever done. I threw out the bat signal to Steel Rain and, of course, to Retri from Game Pass Daily, who joins us along with our already amazing crew. Let's get into the introductions, and we're going to break down the first story, because this is going to have a lot of avenues. It's going to take more than half the show. Lots of big opinions. Nobody's right, and certainly nobody is wrong, but we do want people to let it all hang out. Pause. Steel Rain, let's start with you first, brother. We love having you here. You have your family. You got the key to the front door. You walk in. Yep. You go right to the garage. You pull out the Ferrari. You take it for a ride. You do what you want. Man, What's going on, brother? Welcome.
Beautiful people, what is going on? It is I, and I am he, the one and only Steel Rain. And look, I am Mr. Live, Raw, and Uncut, and also one half of Living Split Screen, a Saturday morning non-console-centric platform talking about everything in the gaming industry. And me personally, I like to take that RTS approach, pulling ourselves out of the world, looking at the darker crevices of the map, pulling those resources together, and hopefully building up our foundation and reaching those 3 billion gamers that Phil always talks about. Boom, again, like you said, you sent out that back signal. I am very appreciative to be here. Glad I was able to get some time in today, and I'm ready to chop it up with you guys, man. We get, like people are saying in the chat, all-star panel.
Yes, this is indeed the this is not the West Coast Avengers, ladies and gentlemen. This is the official Avengers, the NYC Avengers. And we have a lot to get into. Let's welcome in another guest who has found his sea legs in this community with Game Pass Daily. Retri, brother, it's great to have you back here.
Absolutely.
I wanted you specifically here because of how opinionated you are of Xbox Game Pass and what this price increase does for subscription services, what it does for Game Pass. We're going to get all into that. First of all, how are you feeling?
I'm doing good. A lot of stories I did yesterday. Unfortunately, this was one of them, the hot topic of the price increase. So I'll give my opinion. Hopefully, there's going to be some people that disagree with me, and that's fine.
That's okay, though.
One thing I won't do is bend.
No. Listen, honestly, Your opinion matters. Everyone's opinion matters here and in the chat. You can vocalize your opinion. There is no right or wrong answer. If you're pissed, talk about it. If you understand it, talk about it. If you're somewhere in the middle, let's talk about it.
I'm both, but yep.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. First of all, let's welcome back Boxenberger. Welcome, brother. You made another show. Thank you.
I didn't expect the panel to be that full, but I'm glad I'm here. Unfortunately, I didn't have dinner, and I just worked 12 hours, so I'm gonna eat a little bit in between the segments, but I hope that's okay. Otherwise, I'm super excited for the show. Let's get this rolling with this big panel here.
Now real
Archie,
quick,
what are you eating? I gotta know what he's eating.
What are you
A
eating?
couple of sandwiches, and asparagus, and I don't know what. A couple of things. I don't know, cucumbers, everything I found in the fridge.
Listen,
An
if it
asparagus
tastes
sandwich?
good, it works. What I want to do is I just want to make sure that my mic's.
You want some bacon
Smokey
box?
in the chat says that my mic's a little low. How does my mic sound now?
It definitely is higher.
sound
It's
good.
definitely higher than what it
You
was
sound good.
before. It's more level.
Can we get much higher?
We'll evaluate it as we keep
Okay,
going,
yeah, I
but
just want to just lower it a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I hear myself, so I sound loud. Hopefully the people can hear me. Mav, what's going on, brother? Welcome back to the program.
Not much, man. Look at this panel. My gosh, I thought Archie was having some bratwurst, but no, it's just
God, I wish-
sandwich.
I have to go grocery shopping after the show,
Move
dude.
This way.
Yeah.
I literally ate everything, put everything on a plate here that was left in the fridge. So
Yeah.
You said you had an asparagus sandwich. I'm like, yeah, this brother need to go shopping.
Yeah.
it's time to go shopping, definitely, dude.
Definitely how you know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the discussion. We talked a little bit about it on FSP last night, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because there's a lot of people that may disagree with my take on this, but there's a lot of people that have agreed with it also, including Pong, a good buddy, and yeah, I'm looking forward to our show on Thursday to where me and Pong can sit down and really deep dive that. We got the Game Awards coming Thursday too,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that's it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. But yeah, this is an amazing panel. Great guys here. It's been a while since I've been here together with Boxenberger,
Yeah.
and it's always a blast to chop it up with my brother Steele.
Absolutely.
Umbre here as well. I don't think he was here last time I was able to be on. So
Yo,
yeah, it's gonna be an absolutely awesome show today, man.
Yeah, the Hooded Canuck in the chat says this is the Avengers crossover we have been asking for and we have delivered. Infinite Number, brother, welcome back, man. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we have some monster topics to get into. Cannot wait to talk about it.
absolutely, man. This is a really important right here today. I mean, it's a day we all knew was coming.
Yes,
So
I agree.
it's definitely something worth talking about. And if we're claiming the Avengers, I'm claiming T'Challa. I'm just saying.
That's okay. It's perfectly fine. I'm Captain America. That's my man.
Yeah,
Still
got
take
Iron
Iron Man,
I'm good.
100%, dude. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I can't have Danny or Retri trying to claim T'Challa talking about I'm the king of Wakanda now. I'm like, nah, that
Oh
ain't gonna-
God!
that's not
Here
gonna
you
work
go.
out.
It's not gonna work out. I love
Why?
it.
You know why? You know.
Say it.
Are we
It's
going to call
spicy.
the
my
colonist?
God, here we go.
I love
Colin,
it.
excited to be here with all you guys.
Yeah. No, this is one of those topics that I feel. I think everybody on this panel is a superstar. Whether you have 1,000 subs or 100,000 subs, I think everybody on this panel does their due diligence to deliver content on a weekly basis, sometimes a daily basis. And we do it because we love gaming, but more importantly, we love the community. And I think that even though this may not be the most fun show of Xbox Factor podcast, it is an important show because we have a responsibility to this community to let them know, and more specifically, not to let them know, to let Microsoft know that we are A, happy with this, or B, most of us not happy with this.
We got a deep dive off the deep end immediately, Boom, because Drawn says he's ready.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just thank Drawn TJ because this is when you see these kind of super chats, I sometimes worry that this is wrong. And then I sit back in my chair and I say, I don't think at any point that I've ever whatever I've done and whatever my wife has done for the community that we're worth this kind of super chat. Let me just break it down. He drops, folks, absolutely astonishing
Stellar.
$200 super chat. And when I say that, that gives me goosebumps because that is a lot of money. I don't, like I said, we don't do this for money, folks. We do this for the love of the game. And
Facts.
that is pretty ridiculous. He says this, folks. I'm sorry, guys, but if you are subscribed to Game Pass, I think you have no room to cry about the price increase when you're not paying full price for the first party games. I can understand if you don't have Game Pass, okay, but you can then join Game Pass and save money and use Microsoft rewards. And I'm seeing the Microsoft rewards thing get thrown around, and I know a lot of people that actually pay their monthly subscription using Microsoft rewards that they don't actually pay for it. They play games, they do their Bing searches, and people do their things. And I look, I have some opinions, whether or not they're popular or not. We're going to get into it, but let's continue with Daniel McGee, my brother. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Master, folks, of the long and short content. He has somehow figured out a way to do both. His long content is some of the best in the business. Daniel, how you feeling, brother?
Pretty good, pretty good. My hot water's out, so I took the coldest shower I've ever had this morning, so I'm very awake.
That's how you get that adrenaline pumping,
miserable.
huh?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm glad that you're here,
So-
brother. I'm sorry you had to take a cold shower. But listen, we're going to get into it. And I know you're going to have a big opinion. And who might have the biggest opinion of it all is the newest member to the Xbox Factor podcast. Justin saying what's going on, brother. Looking more and more like soap from Call of Duty. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, just gotta do what the wife says. So, but oh, thanks for having me on. It's awesome. I'm surrounded by my best friends right now.
Yeah, good to
The
have
gaming community really has brought me in. The chat, co-host on here. I talk to you guys behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much. I'm just excited to be here. I do have big opinions on this. I'm a little bit upset with how Microsoft is treating the people that stood by them for so long, but we'll get into that later.
You know what, folks? I'm all about ripping the Band-Aid off and getting right into it, and we got to talk about this now. I'm of two minds here. First of all, I want it to be known immediately that I will never cap or defend
Thoughts on?
a $1 trillion company raising their prices.
Yep.
Okay, because the last time that I checked my fucking bank account, pardon the French, I'm sorry, the one curse you're gonna get from me, it doesn't have 6 figures. At sometimes it doesn't even have 5 figures. Okay, I have always, and anyone that follows me on social media, anyone that is, which I'm incredibly humble to have subscribed to the channel, have heard me say this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it one more. One of the things that I love and enjoy about Microsoft, specifically their services in Xbox Game Pass, is they allow every financial station to be a part of the conversation. That is what makes me a Microsoft fan. That is what makes me an Xbox fan. Whether you make 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, or more, you can at some point figure out a way to pay $15 a month for the greatest deal in gaming. Now, we understand that Microsoft has joined the ranks of Sony, of Ubisoft, of Activision, all of the bigs, EA. Everyone is charging $70. The only one left entity that's not currently is Nintendo. And Nintendo does have a $70 Bethesda game coming out that they priced, not that Microsoft priced. So am I happy about having people who buy their games traditionally pay $70? And the answer is absolutely not. I am going to give Microsoft the righteous smoke for that. I do think that they did use a bit of a crutch in their press announcement, where they specifically mentioned that we decided as a corporation not to raise prices during the holiday, so people would be able to still afford and enjoy gaming. And I think, again, folks, you would not be subscribed to me if I didn't call them out. I think that was PR at its absolute finest. I don't. We already knew that they weren't raising prices. I don't think you needed to mention of that. You didn't need to make mention of it again. I also am going to understand that the quality of games that we have been asking for is increasing in development costs. I understand that, and again, this is not defending. This is just basically bringing evidence to the conversation. Right now, Microsoft in 2023 will allow for us to buy a game traditionally, and it's going to cost us $76.43 in New York. The difference between Microsoft and Sony, and I'm not talking about quality, because quality is in the eye of the beholder. I don't want to hear that something like Vampire Saviors, Survivors can't be compared to God of War, because if you're that person, you're a boob. Both of them are 10s, and one is 8-bit graphics, and the other one is worldly renowned graphics. So it doesn't matter. It's all about the player. My evidence that I bring to the conversation is what Microsoft will eventually do is give you as a consumer another option to buy or play their games. If you want to buy it through Game Pass, you get a 10% discount. If you want to, quote unquote, as the haters say, rent the game through Game Pass, if that's how you feel your subscription service is, that's fine. You can go to Game Pass for $15 a month, in some cases $10, and with the family plan as low as $5, and get said first party game. Just press the download button for your monthly subscription of whatever that is, whether it's $5, $10, or $15. You have another option to play this game. See, that's the difference with Sony. Sony does not give you that option. They charge you $70. We've heard people say, I'll pay $80, $90 for the quality that I'm getting. And I just want people to understand that the reason why games are now $70 almost unanimously is because of stupid people like that. Because these corporations are listening. They hear you when you say you're willing to pay more. Who are they not to not charge you more? Now,
So
I'm not
true.
saying that's what Microsoft did, but I'm saying that right now they raised their prices $10. Now, the question, folks, that we have to break down before I start getting to the outstanding panel is this the lesser of two evils type of situation? What do I mean by that? Well, Sony not only charges you $10 more with EA and Activision and all of the other bigs, but they also raise their prices for consoles by $50. They also nickel and dime you for visual upgrades that are $10 more for a game that was on the old generation to play it on the new generation. They charge cross-play tax. They do all these back-end, business deals that they're charging the consumer through the nose. Is this $10 increase for first-party games where it stops for Microsoft? And if it is this, again, the lesser of two evils? Could we have seen, if they didn't raise prices on games, raise prices on consoles? Or if they didn't raise prices on consoles and raise prices on games, were they going to increase prices of Xbox Game Pass? I don't know, because they're not saying, but again, there are three factors that we have to really consider. Of the three things they could have raised, is this the worst case scenario or is it the best case scenario? Because if Game Pass doesn't go up, then you can, for $15 a month, not have to pay $70. If Game Pass doesn't go up and prices on the games went up, maybe console prices stay at 300 and 500, or maybe in 2023 they drop $50. Maybe this is a way of circumventing a console price decrease, but upping the price on the game. I don't know. We are going to talk about it. I want to start first. We'll start with our guests. We'll go to Retri first on this, then we'll go to
Sure.
Lane. Retri, you have a lot to say. Again, this is no time frame. I don't care if we only get to one topic in a 2-hour show. The bottom line is this must be spoken about, and I want everyone to give their opinions. Please, by all means, let us know yours.
Well, in the scheme of things, I think this is one of the worst things that could have went up in price, because now you set the precedent. It's forever. I'd rather have seen the console get bumped up $50 because you do that one time, right? So, I mean, we knew this was coming. This isn't a surprise. Phil said so, I think, during either WSJ or some other interview that I watched. So we knew this was coming. He said it not too long ago, but it came pretty fast. But I'm a cheap guy, and I've had a problem with the $70 thing from the get-go, even when back in the day when it went from 50 to 60, because everyone said inflation. I'm so tired of hearing one factor out of 1,000 and using that to back up $1 trillion, $2 trillion company. It's ridiculous. Forgetting all the other factors in the world where digital has taken over. Make no mistake, you don't have to transport the game anymore. You don't have to have a physical copy. You don't have to print the disc. You don't have to print the art. You don't have to put it in the DVD case. All that's gone. Distribution costs, gone. We were talking about this years ago where we should have had a decrease, not an increase.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, yeah, the games cost more money. If you actually look at the stats, they haven't changed as much as people think. Like these triple A's, everyone keeps saying $200, $300 million. Go look at the actual cost of the games. They're under that. I promise you.
Half of the budgets are actually marketing also. You know what I mean?
I'm saying that again. Sorry.
Half of the budget's usually marketing also.
Absolutely. Marketing, something I also crap on Microsoft for not doing well. So I'm not sure if they're actually using it for that. But
marketing costs have gone down significantly over the last couple of years.
Social media helps.
Most of those, exactly, they use the free viral marketing. Everyone does it.
We're doing it. I mean, we're doing it for them.
Doing it right now.
So as a Game Pass stan subscriber and someone who should be getting paid from Microsoft because I talk about it so damn much, it stinks. I'm not talking about me. I'm not mad for me. I'm mad for you if you're not a Game Pass subscriber. This stinks. This makes all your future purchases higher. And if you think it's going to stop at 70, you're crazy. It will go up eventually.
Sony actually was quoted in potentially raising their prices further, folks. I don't think anyone knows that this story that has been held really low in social media, but that Sony has been reported as saying prices for games could in fact go higher. So what are we talking about here? Are we eventually going to get to $100 games? But
they're already at that some places, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Canada,
$100 for COD.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't, to go kind of on a side tangent, obviously I'm not for this. I think it's crap. I don't think Game Pass will go up next year. There's a lot of things in influx right now with the family plan. When does that drop? How does that drop for the US and the UK? Is it going to be the $25 price point we're all hoping for? Because that shifts things a little bit, making Game Pass essentially even cheaper if you can get enough people to join the family plan. So, I mean, we knew it was coming. Prices are up. In a time where we're in a recession, even though the government doesn't want to say that, which is also BS. So I'm not happy about it, but it's not going to affect me directly because I have Game Pass. But what I would tell people who are listening is if your subscription for Game Pass is about to lapse, let it lapse. And then start doing the gold trick stacking, the 1-for-1 ratio where you buy gold for 3 years and then you can transfer it to Game Pass Ultimate at a 1-to-1 ratio and save a ridiculous amount of money. Do that now as soon as you can, because time might be ticking away for that deal to go away. And Microsoft knows it exists. So that'd be my my little tip.
You know, I want to pose a question to you because Stuff Sean, first of all, Jacob Novick drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I have seen people on Twitter, people I follow, and now not and that follow me, who say $70 games don't matter. Xbox Game Pass exists, but trust me, Xbox Game Pass won't exist forever. Yeah, it actually will.
I think it will.
It'll last way longer than the hardware.
Yeah,
100%.
Digital services. If there's anything that we have learned,
100%.
Jacob, digital services are not only going to outlive us as humans, it is going to constantly grow because it's a market that requires nothing but digital, but digital being.
I like to remind people. Sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
About Adobe. When Adobe did this, everybody said, I'm done. I ain't subscribing to software. That's crazy. And for the next 5 years, they had record profits year after year after year after year. I hate Adobe too, but guess what? Convenience is king.
Yes.
And it ain't going anywhere.
Well, and see, Xbox is only the console. The platform is Game Pass, in my belief,
Bingo.
moving
You
forward.
but you are correct in saying so, Justin. That's a fantastic point of view. Yes, the console is the console, but the platform is Xbox Game Pass. That is what Microsoft is moving towards, because at the end of the day, it is going to be. They want it to be observed as just a Netflix or a Hulu or one of the your other famous services. It's just going to be Xbox Game Pass.
Their primary reason for buying ABK for $70 billion is not to sell boxes.
No.
Right.
They want subscription services, and Brad Smith actually said that, as a matter of fact. But I want to pose a question to you that Stuff Sean in the chat said, Retring. He drops a £5 super chat. Thank you for the generosity, Stuff Sean. Appreciate you being here. He says, Xbox tried and failed to drive us to Xbox Game Pass by raising Xbox Live. This was inevitable, and because it catches up with Sony, looks less greedy. 4D chess. My question to you is, now it's starting to make the rounds, and I saw it immediately. And we're fortunate to have a tremendous amount of internet detectives in our masses. And one of the things I hear going around is this a ploy? Is this a ploy to push people to the streaming service of $15 a month versus, hey, we're giving you an option? Sony isn't. We keep hearing that Sony will never adapt this kind of ideology to their service unless the game is old.
Both. For sure. They were always going to do it because everyone else was doing it. They look like the good guy for taking so long. But yeah, I mean, I said this a year ago. I said, wait till, Xbox goes $70. Game Pass is going to look even better. And it does. It sells itself, right? So, like I said, not that long ago, when I was making fun of Sony saying $170 game or the family plan for $5 a month for the entire year, you pay less than you do for God of War, then yeah, I mean, it kind of sells itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. First of all, how does my mic sound now? It was low. I had it was turned down.
You're way better. Way better.
I don't know how that happened, but I don't have cats, so I can't blame anyone but myself. No, listen, Retri, we're going to come back around to you.
Sure.
I think that this is going to be a conversation that we're going to have to continue to have. But listen, Steel Rain, you deliver live, raw, and uncut content on a Saturday, on an every weekly basis with Pong Soul. I wanted to have you on here specifically because this is, in fact, a hot topic, and you are you wear your heart on your sleeve. You let people know how you feel. You don't care about hurt feelings.
Nah.
Why don't you tell me about your opinions on a $10 price increase 3 years into the generation for Microsoft?
All right, so I'm going to start off with I'm going to off rip agree with my brother from another Pawn Soul when he says I and you Boom also because you stated it the same. I will not lie front for a $1 trillion company. I'm not going to do it. I don't care how you guys feel about it. I don't care what you think about it. I am the consumer, and that is the perspective that I will come from at the end of the day. Because unlike some other people that people may follow, I can come from an objective standpoint. If we were going to talk about what I want, we would have a very short conversation because I'm confident in what I like as an adult. Right. I would imagine either way. So for me personally, throughout this whole situation, just looking at it objectively, the $10 increase has never been needed. It's just like the increase from $50 to $60, like mentioned earlier. The thing that people bring up constantly to me, and I see it in chat also, is that, oh, if you're crying about this and you're subscribed to this, then you can't complain. Okay, so if I'm subscribed to Hulu, Disney, or any of these other services, I can't go watch movies at the movie theater, right?
I'm still going to complain about gas price increases.
Oh, so if I watch any of these subscription services, then I can't go buy that DVD so I can have the true quality of these movies that we don't really get anymore, right?
Yeah, you got to actually buy the disc for that.
Then let's open the conversation up. Game Pass is an option. It's not meant to be your main option. You cannot say, hey, because you're subscribed to this, that you cannot complain about it or you can't say anything because I am still paying $70 for games. Whether Game Pass is there or not, second and third party games have saved this year for Xbox. I have spent some money this year.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've also seen value this year. So to me, hearing that back and forth, it's like, okay, why can't we have the conversation? Because you think it's a waste of time or you have enough money to cover your expenses, right?
Exactly.
You're coming from a very selfish standpoint. And that's okay because you know what you want as a gamer. You can spend 70 and you can afford it and it's great. Let me tell you about the other 90% of the world who cannot. People, I just opened my eyes to this the other day. Even there's a group of guys that I used to game with all the time. We link back up, Warzone 2's back out, so we're getting sweaty every now and then. These are guys I consider hardcore gamers. They're multiplayer gamers, very facing. They touch other games. They know nothing about the stuff that we talk about. Zero. Matter of fact, one guy was like, oh man, I just wish Xbox would make it easier for me to just stream off my Xbox. I have all this other access. They were looking for other things that Xbox would like to do, not what Bethesda, ZeniMax, that's $10. They're not talking about any of that. So consumers will spend money where they feel like spending money. Or what they will mainly do is they will find value in things that they find value in. It's paying $70 for games. I don't care what you tell me. There has not been a game that is technically worth the $70. If you think about the type of games and how they've been coming out to date, period. You can't argue that. If I have to get a patch day one, the game wasn't ready. And for better or for worse, yes, business is business. You got to get the game out. I feel you. But like Rhetoric also brought up earlier, and it's another one of my main points. Don't talk to me about macroeconomics and then completely exclude the macroeconomic part of it.
Breach.
Where are the cases? Where are my guidebooks? Where are all the other things that I had of value that nobody cared about? That's why things went digital. People don't buy games. That's why the price of games has gone up. Because
Monster Hunter Rise is digital only coming out, by the way.
Yes.
Think about that.
Great point.
For no physical release.
I brought up that to Pong in the chat, and I think I said it in the Fun Speculation fam also. That's a great example. You do not even get the option to buy the game physically.
Yep.
But you want to argue with me whether the game is worth it or not. Do you know if the devs are getting paid more? Last time I did my research, devs don't last in the industry longer than 5 years. I bring up this point also all the time. How would you like to go in your main industry, whatever job that you're working currently, or whatever you're passionate about, is and know or feel, or you some future fortune teller comes to tell you, hey, you're only going to be here for 5 years, or you're going to be burnt out. You're not going to be able to support your family. You have to move all these other places. Your job security, you're not going to know what's going on.
Steel Rain, that's a shorter lifespan than someone in the NFL. Who gets beat up on a daily on a weekly basis.
And again, we don't have to talk about that, but that's the perspective that I come from. Those are the other things that people fail to mention when they talk about these game price hikes. And again, you will always see value in whatever you see value in. Again, I paid $70 for Gotham Knights. You may not feel like that's worth it. People just paid $40 for it. You think that I care? No, I like the game.
I'm with you. I spent $90 because I got the
big boy version, right?
The big boy edition, because you know something, I wanted to play that game day one. I didn't want to wait for a sale. Yeah, and you know sometimes when you see the sales, it hurts a bit, but a lot of the times those sales are for physical, not digital.
100%. But the reason why we keep seeing the things that we see, and again, like I mentioned, is because people are not buying games. What you want, people are not doing, and it has been proven. Jim Ryan has said it to his own consumer base that you guys are not enough.
They're not
5.1 million copies for God of War.
Not
I
enough.
don't care what you tell me. Historically, great. I feel you. It's not enough. Pokemon did it in 10 million in 3 days.
Again, the macroeconomics thing makes me just cringe. That's the cringe word for me of 2022. But Steel, you're onto something, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because numbers don't lie. We can have opinions. You said 5 million copies of God of War isn't enough, and you know something? You're not wrong, and here's why. There are currently 20 plus million PlayStation 5s. But do you know how many PlayStation 4s, which this game is on, by the way, because it is cross-gen? 117 million. And I'm no mathematics major, but I know 117 plus 20 million is 137 million. And if you really want to get froggy and just boost that number up to 140 million consoles, 5 million copies of a game that's first party, that is a 10, that is life-changing, that people change their kids' names from Little Johnny to Kratos because of it, is just not enough. 5 million copies versus 140 million potential customers is not good enough.
And Counter-Striker brings up a good point. Then what's enough? And an extra 1 million on PC, LOL? No, that's not enough either. What's enough is whatever these companies decide is enough. But obviously, people are seeing more value in subscription services than they are in actually buying the full product, especially when you're not giving them a full product. I don't want to go on forever because I can on this particular subject. And I know a lot of other people have very passionate things to say here because I know a lot of people on this panel share this very same sentiment. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it's not that, we're trying to cap for this, that, or the other thing. This is literally, it does not have to happen.
Right.
And there has to be something beyond you telling me it's economics. That's not it.
Let's bring in Boxenberg. Yeah. He has been here in a couple of weeks. Boxenberg, let's get your opinion on this. Now, again, you're one of our international brothers, right? You currently live in Germany, where the prices are much more higher for games the same way they are for our brother Mag, who's in Canada, who says that a game for him is $105, and now it's going to be $115. What are your personal takes on this price increase? Is this a bad move for Microsoft?
Yeah, you make it short. Yes, on multiple levels. A lot of things have already been said, and I just want to double down on a few things.
No, reiterate on it, brother, because I want bring your up angle from it. Yeah,
a few other points in as well, because like everyone here, I'm not going to defend the price increases. I have been very hard with Sony for leading this price increase 2 years ago. Activision followed suit, Take-Two followed suit, EA followed suit. So we had these price increases, and I've been hard on the developers. So I'm not surprised that Microsoft is doing this. I'm really not surprised. I'm surprised about them doing it now. In the worst year that Xbox has ever had, after delaying all major games, you're telling us now, okay, the games you have been waiting for, and we have been promising you those games in November, in the summer of this year. That's when we were supposed to play Redfall and Starfield. Now we've delayed everything, and as a reward, you're going to pay extra for that. I feel like that's literally the worst point in time that you can do that. I would have understood if Microsoft just set it out, release at least 1 or 2 games, and then do the price increase. But now, doing it right now, and it's easy to say, hey, we're not doing it this holiday because you don't have any games to sell this holiday. Doesn't matter whether you do it. You can do it right now. It wouldn't change anything. You have no major first party games to increase the price upon. So it's literally just, okay, we've delayed the games and you got to pay more for them. That's just the message that they send across. And that's poor. That's simply poor marketing. And marketing came up already. We all know it's not the strong suit of Microsoft. So yeah, am I happy with this? Not at all. Not at all. But like you said, Boom, the good thing at least is we have the option of Game Pass. It doesn't affect us as much as with any other publishers. Like, I can't play the Take-Two games day one in any subscription service, or the Sony games, or the Activision games yet. But at least we have here the option. And I've posted something on similar on Twitter, and one discussion always came up: when are we gonna see a price increase with Game Pass? Because that's the next thing that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the console price. They just wanna lure in new customers, and having the Xbox sitting on the shelf at a lower price point than Sony is just helping them. It's helping them a lot. But Game Pass, are we safe on Game Pass price? I don't know how you guys feel about that. I would say, hey, Microsoft, you can't increase the Game Pass price in a year like this, where you have literally only like indie games and a few AA games that came in there. Once you have that cadence of like every other month, a big AAA banger coming to Game Pass, I feel it's gonna be different. So the question is, will they do a price increase in the second half of 23? But then it's Microsoft on the other hand. Hey, and Microsoft knows how to screw good things up. And I could literally see them like a day before Starfield comes out. Hey, and there we go. Price increase. Yeah.
Yep. That's something that, you're not wrong for saying that. I'm actually surprised it hasn't been said before. It was certainly going around that something very similar to what you said. So wait a second. You're charging $10 more for games that we've been waiting for, that we were promised this year. Right?
That would have been cheaper.
Yeah, that would have been cheaper.
Should have been.
Exactly. Delayed. But on top of all of the quote-unquote bangers that are coming next year, on what is expected to be Microsoft's biggest year in the history, in its 22-year history at that point, you're telling me that not only games are $10 more, if they raise Game Pass next year, it is going to be a bloodbath. I will tell you that right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's hope the FTC kills that. I'm hoping the one concession. Come on, baby. Let's go. EU, CMA, FTC.
3 years. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lock it down. Because Sony already set the stage, saying, "Oh, everything's going to increase." One thing just happened, so hey, FTC, protect me. Right? Protect my Game Pass price.
I don't know about all that, brother. I'm not trying to get the deal blocked, but yeah. And I mean, Sony didn't make any spectacular guess there. It was obvious. It was very obvious when Phil came out in that interview and said that was him letting us know, hey, the price is about to increase, right?
Yeah, he basically said that pretty much. Yeah.
I didn't know. Were you finished, Box?
Oh, you're
Box, you muted.
You muted, Box.
Oh,
There you go.
That explains why you all talk over me.
Sorry, Box.
Those asparagus sandwiches do to you?
Yeah, see, if I don't get a
He's
proper
not
dinner,
nourished
that's
enough,
what's
damn it.
gonna happen. Yeah. So what was I about to say? Yeah, the Game Pass prices are not safe either. The question is literally just when, not if. And yeah, so our feeling would be like at 24 would be a good point. Yeah, when you have like actually a bunch of first party AAA games in there and coming, and then it would go down way easier if they do it. Like I have the concern that they might do it like literally in between Redfall and Starfield, or right before Forza comes out or something like that. I feel it's gonna be really bad PR. So yeah, I'm not happy about the price increase. It doesn't affect me as much as it does with all the other publishers, but still, like everyone else said, we are not here to defend like these trillion-dollar companies. We got to talk from the perspective of us gamers, and we are the customers, and everyone is always talking, but think about the developers. How many times have we heard it from the Sony community? Yeah, that the games are worth it, and think about the poor little developers. But the point is, the average programmer in these companies is not getting a raise. Yeah, so they increase, like here in Germany, it's about like 15% or so. What the price increase actually is. None of the developers will get a 15% a salary increase. None of them. That's all profit to the publishers, and I'm not even close to defending that, because guess who also has to work real hard for their money? It's everyone here in the panel, everyone
Indeed.
here in the community, in the chat. Everyone has to work hard for their money, and we are not getting more. We are not getting more value. We're getting the same. We just have to pay more for that, and I don't feel that that's a good thing. So yeah, not happy about the price increase, and I'm really wondering when Game Pass is gonna come. So
You know what? Shinobi602 on Twitter. If you don't know who Shinobi is, you should probably follow that dude. I've been following him for years.
yeah.
Still has not followed me yet, but it's okay, Shinobi. I still love you. I still love you. He actually said something yesterday. He was answering some questions, because Shinobi is one of the many. He follows the suit of like Idle Sloth, who is the internet detective. You have Wario64. You have so many of these these so-called community detectives that we have. He was answering some questions, and he said something very, very interesting. People were asking, when is Game Pass going up? He actually said in the next 12 months. I don't know if he's pretty good with his info. He doesn't talk out the side of his neck, so I have some concerns. The question is, how much? Is it $1? Is it $2? My Disney Plus is going up $4. I just got an email like, man, going up again. Hulu went up, Netflix went
Seems
up,
consistent.
everything's gone up. It's crazy. My Sirius XM is no longer yearly. They charge you now monthly.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. So
Everything. The soccer club my kids
Crazy.
play in, they just raise prices. Everything is raising prices. I get it. We are in that recession. I don't know about the media in the US. Here in Germany, everyone is calling it already a recession.
It is a recession. I don't care what the government's saying.
And we have the highest price hikes in energy prices in the world. It's like everything is getting more expensive around here. I get that. I still get it. I still think it's an entertainment product. And if I have to choose in between food or energy, I'm always gonna choose that and not games. So I'm not sure if it's the right point for Microsoft, the right messaging in the middle of all the trouble we have to go through to signal, okay, now you have to pay more for the stuff that you play and enjoy to take your mind off of the seriousness of all the other stuff. So yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, good stuff. Let's bring in Infinite Umbra into the conversation. Infinite, you have a lot to say about this, whether you agree or disagree. No one's right or wrong here. But before we do, I do have to catch up with some super chats. We get, a lot of them. We have 452 people here in the chat. A lot of new names. And if you are enjoying the honest and earnest conversation that we're having, I ask that not only do you subscribe to Double Barrel Gaming. We're on the hunt for 12K. You go out of your way to subscribe and follow everyone that's on this panel, because at the end of the day, we're all content creators and we can only grow our channels with the support of the people, and that is you. So if you're finding anything that we're saying interesting or not, either subscribe or don't subscribe, but we would hope that you would. Let me start with the super chats first, and then we'll get Infinite Number. Outbreak Podcast. Good old Dave drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says, agreed, Boom. Just choose where you spend your cash. And I agree. Drawn TJ drops an additional and very generous $10 super chat and says, look, if you're just wanting first-party games, then get Game Pass. And hey, do you guys think they raised the price for the regulators as a concession? I don't think so. And will they make and then they make it $60? No, I don't know. I think that Retri's onto something, and we've heard quite a few analysts say this, that they'll approve the deal, but one of the concessions besides Call of Duty is they can't raise Game Pass for 3 years, and that's something that they might agree to, which is where this $10 price increase may have come from. We don't know, because we don't know what the concessions are going to be. But again, it's a conversation. I believe that this is not the last time we're going to be talking about this. We have a Gamer Live Studio. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, if games cost $80 or more, a lot of gamers won't be buying games day one, and it's not worth a damn. And some will be moving the PC altogether for better sales. Yeah, I don't. Oh my God, I hope they don't ever go up to $80. That would be ridiculous. And the first publisher to do that would be Sony. I'm telling you right now, they will find a way, because their own fan base says, no, charge me more. I want to pay more for God of War 3. I want to pay more for the next, Horizon or Uncharted, because your quality is so much worth it. Hell, I had a guy argue with me, tell him he paid $100, and he'd be glad. Good on you, brother, if you got that kind of money to spend on a game. I don't. Reggie Mobile 9, generous friend of the program, has been a part of this outfit for many years. Thank you, sir, for all the support, Reggie. He drops a $10 and says, I don't want to pay $70 increase, but we accept it everywhere else with no pushback. We bought God of War and NBA 2K and all of the other $70 games and took no stand. Why shouldn't Microsoft up theirs? And I think that's ultimately where this decision came from. Everyone else is charging. They just joined the party. I don't think that they should have. Again, that's just my opinion. Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat. Says, I don't want games cheaper, but I do want first party at full price. I do, but I don't first party at full price. I have Game Pass. Yes, you and a lot of people, and I think ultimately one of the caveats to this price increase is, in fact, to move people over to their subscription service. It makes sense. It makes clear business sense. Jacob Novick drops an additional $5 super chat and says, I don't have a problem with 70, but I don't want companies to lose their current face like Sony's Gas Games or Phil's desire to get Xbox Game Pass to 2 to 3 billion people. Ultimately, the Game Pass, unless it's a blanketed thing, like I've been calling this for over a year now, since this, under a year, because it's coming up to January. But I called this the minute that this deal was announced, that Microsoft was going to create a Xbox Game Pass for mobile, and it was going to be $4.99 a month, and it was going to give you perks in games like Candy Crush, and people were going to devour it, and they're going to make millions, if not trillions of dollars more. Or billions of dollars more. Candy Crush makes a ridiculous amount of money. And if you can get those perks, monthly perks for your $5 or your $4.99, get that 1 cent off because it makes it look even more attractive to the human brain, then Microsoft is going to be making money hand over fist. And at that point, if they are making that kind of money, then it comes into question, did they really need to raise the price of their games? More importantly, would they increase the price of Xbox Game Pass? That's where I think the gloves or the gauntlets are dropped by our sides, and now we're fisticuffing for sure. But Umbra, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What are your thoughts?
Sorry about that, was muted. I got a few thoughts here, right? So the tweet I made yesterday after I saw the news, I wasn't so much shocked as I was like disappointed. But I knew it was coming again. But I have a few things to say. The blame, I need to point fingers really quick. I blame all you Sony fans, every last one of you. I've been in spaces.
You're not
and
wrong,
such.
because they called for this, and the corporations are listening.
They did, and you're not wrong. I've had them tell me, "I'll pay 80, I'll pay 90 for greatness." This is literally, I'm not joking. They said literally that, and I just sat there in like disbelief. Like, boy, do they have a good slave in you? But it's embarrassing to hear that. Listen, I think we all love this hobby of ours enough where we would still pay depending on the product, right?
Us.
Here and there, right? Sparingly. I've been very staunchly against $70 games for a long time. I've said it all the time. I do not like $70 games. Now, I did get God of War. I did get Gotham Knights. I did get Callisto Protocol, all using either a gift card I was given that took the price off, or Microsoft reward points and Xbox.
Points, baby.
You
That's
see
right.
what I mean?
Yep.
That's the beauty of Microsoft rewards points. I refuse to pay $70 for games. But I'll say this. I blame not only Sony fans, but I blame Sony. But because of Sony, that's the only reason the price went up. To me, that's the argument to be made. Excuse the background noise, fellas. But that is the main reason why this price hike went up to $10 more for $70 for games. Is because Sony joined in. They're the market leader. And if they had not done it, we'd still be at $60 standard. Yeah. So that's my two blames right there. I definitely hear you guys when you say this is a $2 trillion company and they don't need it. You're not wrong. But I will say, as business dictates, and as was obvious, because the question came up when ABK was being acquired, when would Microsoft, matter of fact, it came up when they got Bethesda, when would Microsoft join the $70 fold, right? Well, I didn't think necessarily they'd do it with Bethesda games, and there had been no word that they would do it with that. And seeing how those games released so sparingly, I was like, maybe around Elder Scrolls, I could see that. But then ABK came up, and you're not going to revert Call of Duty back from $70 to $60. It just wouldn't happen. So as much as silly as bad as it looks, rather, that the games that were delayed from this year until next year are going to be at the $70 price tag. The real reason why they moved up to this right now is because this acquisition is going to be going through in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have it at $70 now. They have to make that a standard for their games.
Because the company they're going to own is already doing it. That
Absolutely.
makes a lot of sense. They're
That's
pulling off the
why.
Band-Aid. They're pulling off the Band-Aid, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, you
and I
bring up
don't,
a
I don't like
great
it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You make a lot of sense, because I haven't thought about this way. What would happen if they would raise the game prices right after the Activision Blizzard acquisition?
That would have been really bad to the
It would have been
regulators.
probably worse.
Yeah,
probably even worse.
Yeah.
Now a couple of podcasters are complaining about that. But if they would do it then, what would happen when they acquire the next studio, and the next time the regulators have to look at the Microsoft gaming deal? Yeah,
Right.
You make a lot of sense, man.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Again, I don't advocate $70 games. Listen, I barely want to pay $60, but you know what I mean. So I praise Game Pass for the single fact that we'll get all these games into the service day and date. And I know for some they're like, that's not good enough. if I want to buy my games, I shouldn't have to pay 70. I think we're going to have to live with that reality, unfortunately. It's a caveat that we'll have to take, you know what I mean? The caveat being that, yeah, well, we're getting this service. And you're right. You all pointed that it's a double-edged sword where Microsoft is winning either way. So they're going to get more subs because of this. And for those who want to buy the games, they're going to get more sales, at least money, probably profit from those games. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe some will be like smarter and say, nah, I'm going to Game Pass route. The thing is, too, I took into account into thought, not all of their games are going to be $70. You're not going to find Pentiment. You're not going to find Grounded. You know what I mean? At 70. So there's some games that are smaller that I think they'll be reasonable with and keep them at 40 or 30 or whatever it may be. But yeah, man, the big blockbuster games. Listen, as far as I've had Game Pass, the only first party game I've bought on an Xbox has been Halo Infinite. And that's because I'm a super Halo stan. So, I mean, I'm getting all of my money's worth from Game Pass. I'll just tell you that right now. So the next thing is going to be, when is Game Pass's prices? When is that going to go up? When is the price for Game Pass going to go up? Well, I hope not anytime soon. We actually had this discussion on the show. I'm not sure if you guys remember, Danny. We've talked about this, and we said, when would they raise the price for $70 games or Game Pass? Which would happen first? Well, we found out now. And I believe then I even said $70 games will come first. And because my mind went to Call of Duty, they're not going to deduct $10 away from Call of Duty. It sells like gangbusters right now. Why would they do that? And this is the big thing for me. The caveat for me to accept this $70 thing, even if I was to eventually succumb to that and buy the game, right? Microsoft has to deliver. That's the biggest thing.
Yes, I want. You know what? That is a fantastic point that no one has actually brought up. As a matter of fact, is that there are going to be some people in the community, and this is going to come up, folks, and this is on the edge of console madness, console war madness. People are going to say, well, listen, I paid $70 for Ragnarok, and it's my game of the year because of X, Y, and Z, right? And we're okay. And you know something? No one's opinion is wrong. If someone thinks that $70 was worth it for every penny, and they got an experience, that whether that would be 14 hours, 18 hours, 50 hours, doesn't matter. If you walked away from this movie-like experience and you feel that your $70 was worth it, it's okay. But there is some quality control issues that we have talked about on Microsoft's first party, and Phil Spencer has said it himself on numerous interviews. We have not delivered a AAA bomb in a long time. He's aware of that.
Yeah. Add to the fact that the things they said to regulators and such, and the things we saw where PlayStation makes better games than us and all these. Yeah. We heard it too. We saw those words and we knew it. I mean, we knew that some of the games were not delivering some ways. Now, listen, Microsoft delivers when it comes to live service games and such. They deliver when it comes to, long-lasting games. You know what I mean? We'll get the grounded that'll keep you entrenched for hundreds of hours if you really get into it. The Sea of Thieves, that's all good and well, but I want a traditional great game. I don't care.
You want a AAA banger.
That's right.
Yeah,
and I hate to say the banger. That I really do, man. But we need a new word. Yeah, we need a new word. We do.
No, keep saying.
You know what? I'm gonna leave it to Umber to come up with that. I'm gonna put responsibility on it.
Blockbuster. I don't know.
No, it's a
that's
banger.
Sony. Sony is the blockbuster.
Yeah,
Microsoft is the Netflix, as Brad Smith said. But
yeah, and like my man in the chat said, it just went up. He said $70 equals no broken games. I'll start to think about it. There's a novel side. And I agree. Listen, if you're going to charge me $70, that game better be flawless. And that's the problem. They're not going to be flawless.
Nope.
We know, even with Bethesda, and I love Bethesda.
Not a chance.
We already know what's going to happen. We know. But we accept it because Bethesda ultimately does deliver great games at the end of the day, right? I mean, generational great games. So I'm all for it. I'm excited for Starfield. I'm excited for Redfall. I'm excited for the next Forza Motorsport. I'm excited for the future with Avowed and Hellblade 2 and all that. But those games are going to have to deliver. It can't be a middling review. It cannot be a 7 out of 10. It cannot be a 7.5. I'm going to be like the Sony guys. I want to see 9s.
Yep.
In 10s. I want to see masterpieces. That's what I want to see. And I'm just being deadly serious here. They cannot half-ass us when it comes to delivery of these games. They have to be critically acclaimed and well made. that's just the long and short of it. If you're going to charge us a premium, you're going to have to deliver us a premium game. And I don't think that's unfair to say. And so far, they've only half delivered in some of those regards. Forza has delivered. You got Asobo who delivered with Flight Simulator. You got certain games that are top notch. I mean, we had the Gears of War 5. I mean, we've had some quality games. Gears Tactics, we had some quality games. I still love Halo, but I'm not going to call it some great 9 out of 10, right? I mean, not right now. So they faltered in some live service too. So that's my worry. Are you going to try to charge this but still deliver? So you can't do it. And that's the biggest issue for me regarding this. But since I'm a Game Pass subscriber, it does fall on me to believe, or at least to lean on the side of, well, I'm using Game Pass. So, but that said, I still feel where you guys are coming from. These games are being made digitally. Digital is going becoming the new standard. We're not getting
the prices should have decreased with digital.
They should have.
Retri really broke it down to the point where it's hard to argue how a digital game costs as much as the physical game that had all of these back-end costs of the box, cost of the artwork, cost of the packaging and the shipping and the pressing of the discs and the actual disc itself. There is at least
distribution, retail,
goes on
and on.
There's at least $10 there.
Yeah,
you can even argue marketing. You can even argue marketing, but Microsoft barely markets their game, so you can even argue that they're doing that well, right? So, and listen, just for the guys in the chat, listen, I'm a Halo stan. Trust me, I love Halo too. So don't take that as a negative. I'm only saying it is to say that when Halo first released, I was with you, Boom. I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10, right?
I still give it a 9.
At that time, I did.
I still give it a 9.
But their shortcomings have come back to hurt them.
Indeed. 100%.
That's why it's not a 10.
I'm not going to retroactively like take them down a point. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like, if as far as a live service goes, they cannot have what happened with Halo happen further on with other games.
100% agree.
But people accept it from Bungie.
Yeah, and I don't even play Bungie games anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you.
But everybody else does. They don't talk.
People don't
talk about Destiny.
I'll be honest.
People don't talk about Destiny the same way they talk about Halo, and I find that funny.
You are correct in saying so. I mean,
I don't even play Destiny, so
but again, that's the thing. They haven't pulled you in, right?
They haven't.
It could be the same thing for Halo, but neither company, like, and as many people people praise Bungie, but Bungie can't get it right either.
Yeah, that right there is just a nostalgia bug right there talking. That's all it is. Let's be real. That's what it is. I mean, 343 has,
and I love Bungie.
Kind of crapped the bed here and there. So they're like, oh, Bungie. That's all it is. It's just Halo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, so far, I want to say this. We got over 500 people that are here, which is amazing. Again, I'm hoping that if you are finding the channel for the first time, if you are enjoying the very honest and earnest conversation that we're having, I would ask that you subscribe to the channel. Again, we are on the hunt for 12K. We are just a little more than 500 away, folks, and you can help us get there. I think we're gonna miss it by a couple of hundred by the end of the year. The end of the year is 3 weeks away. But if you like the content, I become a full-time streamer. I stream 5 days a week. It is a lot of work, yes, but it's work that I absolutely enjoy. And real quick, before we bring in Mav into the conversation, Mav, we're going to get your highly attested opinion momentarily. TK Chillin in the chat drops a very generous and outrageous $20 super chat and says, "Hi guys, I think that sucks for some people, especially people that love physical copies. I'm looking at you, Noof Nukem." But he's in Canada, so he's used to it, but that doesn't make it right. He says, "But as a digital-only consumer, it doesn't hit me as much because I'm already conditioned to buy the premium version." And like TK Chillin, folks, I got to tell you, he's not wrong about the quote-unquote conditioning, because I don't buy $60 games. I don't buy $70 games. I buy every game that I have purchased. If there is a digital deluxe edition or a superior version to that, I buy it. I literally just bought the new Marvel game. Oh my God, Midnight Suns. I bought the $100 edition. And it's not because I'm rich, folks. I am a retired dude. But Game Pass allows me to not buy everything like I used to, and I can go and I can.
Hey,
I can get
and
a
boom,
deal.
I got one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel that game is quality to you?
I don't know because I haven't played it yet.
Well, you felt like it was enough of a quality. You felt like you were going to be enough.
From what I have seen and heard from other people and saw videos, I felt that the $100 was worth it because of all the content on the back end. People are saying, the Callisto Protocol, which I'm about to beat. I'm at the last boss, and he is a real mother, father, sister, brother. I will tell you that. And I don't like their checkpoints. I have a lot of problems with that game, but it's still going to be in my top 10 because graphically it's amazing. The story is fantastic. It's just some of the gameplay design that I'm not a fan of, and I wish I could sit down with the director or the head of Striking Distance and say, was it a rush thing that this happened? Because
I think so.
That camera system of theirs, the lack of any indicator of where the enemy is at.
It's
the
not
indicator thing is weird.
Yeah, facing multiple enemies is almost a death sentence if you're not properly.
If you are fighting multiple creatures, you're dead. You have to back yourself into a corner and put them in front of you, which is what I've done. But I don't want to turn this into Callisto Protocol. I do want to.
That last boss sucks. I just want to throw that out there.
He is. It's not good, folks. And the checkpoint that you're right in front of this thing, and if you are like me, you don't have the right weapon, and you're near death, and you got to first of all, their health system sucks because there's a whole animation. You got to stab yourself in the neck. Is the Incredible Hulk gonna wait for me to do that? No, the answer is he's not. So it's not good. But listen, wait for a sale. It's definitely a great game. It's just that it has problems, but. Mav, everyone so far has had amazing opinions. Most everyone here are against this. What are your personal takes on this? Where do you sit on the fence here? Is this acceptable or not?
It sucks. Plain and simple. Okay. It does suck. I think that there's a lot of people that are defending this, which is worse for me than almost the action in of itself, right? It's like when you go and you defend corporations when they're charging you more without a necessity, right? That's a problem because here's the thing. There's a lot of things that go up because they need to, right? I'm in a business where if my materials go up, right, I have to charge more to my customer because I have to because it costs me more, right? In the video game world, things don't necessarily operate that way. Okay. Nope. In entertainment world, things don't necessarily operate that way because they're selling a mass product, right? You're selling a mass product that has a production cost, but you have no clue how many copies you're going to sell, right? So at the end of the day, the cost of your production versus how much money you're going to bring in leads you to think that, okay, your decision on price comes with what you think is going to bring you the best return on your investment. Okay. You can have a $30 game. Is Minecraft cheap to make? Do you think Minecraft costs only a little bit of money to make? I think Minecraft probably costs a lot of money to make, right? Are they going to sell that game for $70? Are they going to sell Minecraft Legends for $70? No, they're going to sell it for 20, not. $30, right? Because that's what they perceived value is to the consumer, right? They're not going to sell a game like that for $70. You can go across the entire industry and games that have perceived value of less sell for lower dollar amounts. Games that have perceived value for higher now are selling for higher dollar amounts. That's the way they're coming up with these prices.
That's the reason why software has become the most lucrative business in the world. It used to be oil. In the 80s and 90s, it used to be oil. It's now software because it's scalable. Like you said, it can cost you a lot of money, but that's a one-time investment. And then it's scalable, depending on how much you sell. So
if you can, the production cost is the same, no matter if you sell 50 million copies, if you sell 100 million copies, if you sell 2 million copies, right? Therefore, you're always judging your price based on what you think you're going to bring in. And I think it's a mistake to charge $70 across the board to the industry because I think it has actually cost some sales to some companies that actually have The number one game this year was Elden Ring. It was $60. It was $60, $60 game. Did it hurt that game? Did it hurt that game being $60? Is it probably
No,
going
it
to win
certainly
game
did not.
of the year?
It's probably one of the best-selling games right under Call of Duty, which was 70.
Look at Bandai Namco's financials this year. They skyrocketed. They absolutely skyrocketed because of Elden Ring. It was a $60 game. You don't need to charge $70. That's not a necessity. So I will not sit there and defend a $1 trillion corporation regardless, just because other people are doing it, right? I gave Activision this heat. I gave 2K this heat. I gave Ubisoft this heat when they announced Skull and Bones was going to be $70, which is a ridiculous joke. I gave Sony this heat. Microsoft deserves this heat as well because they don't have to do so. They do not have to do so. Look at console players also this past generation and before, having to pay more money than PC players. Production costs the same, right? You go to the digital storefronts now. Not only are we saving money, are they saving money on all the production costs of all the physical stuff they don't have to deal with in the digital but they're also making a higher percentage of profit in the digital marketplace based on not having to pay the retailer profit fees as well, with their fees that they get for selling the products. So they get more money in general, digital, across the board. 80%, most of the companies are now digital sales. They should have gone down. Not only that, but their games are selling way more than they ever have before. And not only that, but they're also bringing them into more places than they ever have before. You're going to be able to play these games on your mobile device. Next year, these games are going to be playable even if you own them on mobile devices and everything like that as well. So you have an open ecosystem that's going to be spread out all over the place. You're going to have more consumers being able to access these games and buy these games, and the price is going up. That doesn't make sense for the kind of market it is. Music, movies, have they gone up? Theaters have, but theaters is a separate issue because you're talking about actual cost of running a theater. I'm talking about physical media at retail, digital media for purchasing those products. No, they have not gone up. They have stayed the same. How much money does it cost to make a banger movie? About the same as it would cost to make a banger game, right? It's like $24 for a brand new movie, something like that. I think, it just doesn't make sense. The other thing I would like to say, to the points of, yes, people have been paying $70, $80, $90, $100 for games already. Yeah, they have, because the companies have put the options out there for people to want. If they find the value in that extra content they're providing to you for that, it's an option. This is hardlining that $70. There is no option below that now, right? This is capping it at for the consumer that just wants to go buy a game. If they don't want a subscription service or whatever, they have to go pay $70 or you got to wait, right? And I think that sucks. Now, if you want to pay 80, 90, 100 like before, guess what? They are giving you more value for that. They're not giving you more value for the $70 now. They're not giving you more value for the extra $10 they are charging you. Sony didn't do it. 2K didn't do it. Activision didn't do it. Ubisoft isn't doing it. And Microsoft will not do it. These games will not be any different. These games are not going to be any better. The $10 is just because it was sitting on the table, so they decided to take it.
Yes, I
and
agree.
They
just joined the ranks of everyone else. Yes.
They could have left it sitting on the table because guess what? Did y'all see their financials? They're doing fine. Yep. There's no problem that needed to be fixed. There's no problem that needed to be addressed. If there was a problem, we could be talking about this in a different light. But there was no issue that they had to go adjust things to fix.
Every quarter they report, and I'm talking here not just for Microsoft, Sony, Activision, Ubisoft, EA. Every quarterly report is a new record-breaking earnings report for like 7 years straight now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the only reason they took it is because that money was sitting on the table,
exactly.
Right? Because all the other publishers did it. They were first to it. They were all first. Now Microsoft's like, well, the shareholders are saying we should take this money. The executives, we got bonuses to pay out and stuff. It's a couple $100 million or whatever. We're going to make extra from this. You look at this, okay? We got people with the Game Pass argument too. right? We all say, oh, well, we all have Game Pass. What do we care, right? So you're talking about how much more money Xbox will make because of this $10 extra per game. It's not that much compared to how much they actually make on these games. These companies make billions on microtransactions, billions with a B on microtransactions, right? If you sell like 7 million copies of, let's say Redfall, right? That's $10 extra is only $70 million more. Now, it could also cost them $1 million in sales also for people who decide to wait now. So now you're looking at, okay, now they got $60 million more, right? But they're making billions on microtransactions. You don't need to do it. So stop defending it. Exactly. It was wrong when Sony did it. It was wrong when 2K did it. It was wrong when Activision did it. It was wrong when Ubisoft did it. It was wrong when everybody did it. And it's wrong when Microsoft does it.
But Mev, back in the day, it was already $60.
I don't care. If it was, you know what? You know how much a VHS cost in like 1985?
Dude, it was
like
$100.
Yeah, like 90
It was
$100.
Yes.
It does.
Smaller and
cheaper.
cheaper.
Cannot look at that crap. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. In tradition, in media and actual entertainment and media, which is what gaming is, media has actually traditionally gone down in value the longer the format has been out. And when there's new formats that come out, it was usually the cost went up, and then as the format stayed, traditionally the cost has gone down. That's not the case right now. Gaming has always been the one that has stood outside of that zone, and they've kind of boxed their own industry in into making sure that they can charge what they want to charge. And that's what this is all about. They're charging what they want to charge, but not only that, they're charging for the expansion passes, the seasonal content, the DLC, the microtransactions, the loot boxes, the director's cuts, the remasters, the remakes of the remasters, director cuts, part 2s. They're going to sell you the same game 4 times, and they're going to charge you more the next one that comes out of the same game you played 10 years ago.
You know, to Mav's point, folks, if we were to do an industry poll, I remember I'm throwing everybody into the hat here, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, PC. If you were to throw everyone into this pot, this witch's brew that I'm mixing here, and you would talk about game sales versus DLC microtransactions, it would be 5-1. And I'm talking about microtransactions would make 5 times. I might be undershooting it here. It may be 10-1 when it comes to game sales versus. But Daniel McGee, let's get you in here. Then we'll get Justin Sane. And I'm going to bring up a question that is going to be, it's going to be a round robin. It's going to be a free-for-all about Game Pass going up in 2023. We'll end the show with that. But Daniel McGee, I appreciate your patience. Same thing for Justin saying. I appreciate your patience. This is a big panel. I wanted to bring every all-star I could find into this conversation, and you guys are a part of it. Daniel, I mean, is this honestly a really bad look for Microsoft, considering that they were looked as the white knight of the industry, the last of the Mohegans, if you will, of price increases, and now they have joined the ranks of the rich and famous? What are your thoughts on this?
So I think it is bad, right? It's bad for all of the reasons that everyone has already said. But I'm not going to talk about that so much because you guys have said it all perfectly for the last hour. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I have anything else that I can add to the why it's bad category. What I will say is that actually, and I don't want to come off as like defending it, but the thing that keeps circling my mind when I think about the actual repercussions of this is how little actually changes with this, right? This is a situation in which it's one publisher who puts out like 2 games a year. And as we've talked about, all of the games that they put out this year probably aren't going to be affected by this. Like Pentiment wasn't going to be $70. Grounded isn't going to be $70. So we're talking about, a handful of games every year that are going to be $10 more, and that probably most people are going to play through Game Pass anyway, at least the people on this panel. So it's like, is it bad? Yes, of course it's bad. It's a terrible, like it's really terrible. And understand, this is coming from somebody who is very much still a staunch believer in buying things physical. like having the collection. I like seeing it on my shelf. I like actually owning my games. You know, it's something that is of value to me. And so the price increase affects me more than it affects people who are willing to buy it digital and use the rewards points or whatever you got. It is a situation where, while this is terrible, I don't know how much it's actually realistically going to affect me. I think the biggest change that it's going to be, because I still buy, even though the Xbox first party games drop into Game Pass day one, sometimes I still end up going out and buying them. Usually it's only the ones that I really care about. Like I went out and I bought a physical copy of Gears 5. I went out and I bought a physical copy of Sea of Thieves. You know, there's a handful of them that I have a personal attachment to and I want a physical copy of. And I think the only difference that this is going to make for me on that front is that now I'm just going to wait a little bit longer before I do that. You know, this isn't Nintendo who we're talking about here, right? These games will go down in price after 3-4 months less. Honestly, probably you can get a used copy for cheaper within a couple of days. I walked in to pick up my copy of God of War a day late, and there was already used copies there. I guess people had already finished it or something. I don't know. You know, the prices going up is bad, yes, right? But I think that this was inevitable, right? I think this was the sort of situation, and a lot of you have already said this, where Sony raised their price, and 2K and all these guys have already raised it up to $70 per game, and it's like, yes, Microsoft was the good guy for maintaining it at the $60 price point for as long as they could, or as long as they did, and yes, they probably could continue to take it on the chin and continue to take it at $60. I think, the thing that irritates me the most about it is I think the games that are already announced should still probably be $60, especially since I think they already did pre-orders.
That's a great point.
Yep.
I think you are on to something. That. Yes.
I think those should probably still be $60 for sure, because that's definitely a choice that I don't agree with. I don't agree with the choice in general, but this was something that I think we all saw coming, right? We've talked about this topic a long time ago, and we were always saying, like, it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And I think we did all assume it would be a little bit longer than this, or maybe hoped it would be a little bit longer than this. But this isn't a surprise. And I think, okay, so he did that interview, Phil Spencer did that interview a while ago, where he was talking about how they were going to have to raise the prices on some things. And I think as soon as he said that, my mind was already like, okay, it'll probably be the games, right? Because it's game sales, individual game sales are the things that they seem to care the least about right now. So if they take a hit on the sales on it, I don't think that they really care so much, because what they're really concerned about is engagement numbers through Game Pass. And so they want to focus on selling people this service, and by proxy, the console through which you can access the service, right? So the games going up $10, I think, is the lesser of evils in their perspective for what they can raise the price on. So it all sort of makes sense to me, right? I don't like it. It's definitely not something where I'm like, oh boy, can't wait to shell out $10 more that I don't have for a game. Like, it's, but it is 100% a situation where I'm not surprised. I'm not even really mad about it. It's just like, this was always going to happen. I just wish it had happened later.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is going to hurt gamers like yourself who appreciate an actual physical collection on their shelves. It's you brought up an amazing point. None of us, I didn't even think about it until you just said it, and I think that Microsoft should get in front of this immediately. They normally do respond to a community outrage or conversation, and I think that the 3 games that were announced for this year that were delayed should remain $60. I think that is a fantastic point. This is very similar to what happened with Sony. Remember, they said they were going to give you the free upgrade for Horizon Forbidden West, and then at the last minute they pulled a fugazi and said, "Oh no, it's $10," and people had a conniption, which we were right to have. and they went out and said, okay, yeah, you know what? Even though they made it difficult to find, I actually had to download that game through the phone app and not even on the store. I did get my free $10 upgrade because I bought it on PlayStation 4, and I got my free PlayStation 5 upgrade, and that's how I did it. This is one of those instances that if you are not happy about the price increase to $70, and I think everyone unanimously is not, Microsoft does owe it to the customers who have stood by them when their first party have failed, and they have failed to deliver on first party. That because you folks, meaning Microsoft, delayed these 3 games that were originally coming out this year to next year, those games should remain $60. That is a tremendous point. But Justin saying, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Again, thank you for the patience. Let's hear your hot takes on this.
So I usually try and bring things pretty logically, and I'll start out logically because I feel like the more and more I talk, the more Steam's going to build. So first thing they said was, we're not raising prices during the holidays. Well, whoop-de freaking do. What are you going to raise the price on? You didn't have a choice.
That's a great point. Yeah.
As Retri said, that's a nothing burger. Yep. You know, that doesn't mean anything. And the cost of them going up to $70, like Mav said, you know, I worked making asphalt. When gas prices went up, every time my loader touched a cubic yard of soil and I put that in the crusher, that was a direct impact of how prices go up. That's not happening with digital games. What end cap, what store shelf is Monster Hunter having to buy? What are they having to pay for that store shelf? They're not at all. No shipping, nothing. So that right there is bullcrap. And then, so where do the savings go? They don't go to us. They're going to raise $10. They didn't specifically say it's going to go to our developers. So it's not going to. It's going to go to the investors. Mm-hmm. And you said 5 years for a programmer there. You know what? That's a year longer than it took them to get a bachelor's degree. So, I mean, where's watching out? So, you know, where's watching out for your people? The only person that's doing that is Microsoft with their unions. But we're not talking about unions right now. We're talking about them raising the price $10 on games. And yes, I'm getting emotional about this because I realized last night, you know, I talked to Mav, I talked to Daniel, I talked to Shooter, I talked to Galveston. Those are my friends. I don't talk to real people. The people I play video games with, you people, you are my friends. So when people do crap like this to you, I get pissed off. So let's bring it back a little bit. And it doesn't make sense to me. You don't do crappy at a job for several years, put things off, be late on deadlines, and then go to your boss and ask for a $10 raise. That doesn't happen. These companies work for us. We buy their product. And they need to start remembering that. You know, this isn't, you know, I bought into Xbox because they put themselves off as a good guy. I thought they were going to bring value in for me. You know, if you want to raise the price on games, raise your worth, because right now your worth is sitting pretty low. And that's not looking at Game Pass, because you're not talking about the price of Game Pass. You're talking about the price of video games.
Yeah.
So you want me to pay more? Be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at some point, quality control is going to come into the conversation. Phil Spencer has said it publicly multiple times. I've seen many interviews where he's actually come out and said, yeah, listen, you know, we know we haven't delivered on a AAA bomb in a while. Now, is that expected to change? Yes, it is. Yeah. It's expected to come into fruition finally next year. But
I'm going to ask for a raise after I do better.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, folks. You know, maybe you allow your first party to do the talking. You show us what wares you're bringing to the conversation. And then maybe the following year or the second half of the year, you say, listen, we have kept our prices as low as at $60 for as long as they could be. We need to bring them up because production costs, blah, 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 whatever. But you do, I mean, you got to call a spade here, folks. It's been quite a bit of time since you've seen a God of War level type of design come to
Yeah.
an Xbox
Well,
console. I mean,
Boom,
I'm not dissing what they have.
I would add real quick that
Mm.
I would say that according to the Sony super fan, these games automatically are better though because they're $70 now, right? That's how it works.
And the other thing too, though, Boom, like you hit that point with God of War saying of that quality. To me, I don't find that as quality.
No, and I get it. No, you're not a God of War fan.
For
And
example.
yes, you have put that out there. But I'm not saying that Halo Infinite doesn't deserve the its price. I think Halo Infinite is a freaking 10. I think Gears 5 is I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I think Forza Horizon 5 is a 9.5 out of 10. They have had quality, but again, if you're going to raise the price of $10 for your first party games,
Yes.
you must have a consistent cadence to bringing quality games of other companies' ilk. I don't want to single out God of War. God of War for a lot of people, like, and I'm not going to argue with it. To me, it's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
God of War fan.
not taking away from the game, not saying the game's not great or whatever the case may be, but that's why I have, like, there's some few others also. I'm going to now start putting people on the spot when they say quality. What's quality to you? Because everybody's going to be subjective.
100%.
Everybody's going to have a different opinion on what that means to them. And that's the other part of the conversation too. But like y'all said, the biggest thing is you are not justifying the $10.
I agree.
Although no matter what, it's not justified. So so that's the two conversations that kind of happen back to back. And that's why I will always agree that yes, they should have waited on this for them to prove, oh man, look at our
Yes.
we're setting the pace. Look at us. Well, we got to raise the price on these games. You get it in Game Pass. You have this value. Hey, let's bring some more people in. We'll see what else changes.
And I bought the Vault Edition for Call of Duty. I have no problem paying extra for games that I perceive as higher quality. I just want them to show that before they start asking for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think
that-
Umbra had
quality-
the right point though with
Go ahead. I like when you say Umbra. Go ahead.
I'm going to piggyback on what you said earlier. You kind of changed my mind on the whole thing. It had to happen because of ABK. I think Umbra
That was a
is
very
spot
good point.
on
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
point. So
It's unfortunate,
it
but
sucks.
true.
But they didn't have to raise the price of all their other games.
Sure, they have to match it.
You know-
They couldn't have that at 70 and others be at 6. People would complain, why is that at 70 then? And
yeah,
See
Well,
what I mean?
I don't know, maybe because I mean, you had set a precedent with ABK coming in, and you could say, well, ABK games is already.
Why couldn't they
this,
charge
and-
60
but then
for
they'd
COD?
also
They could have.
They also put
Why not?
Call of Duty on a pedestal.
That'd make you look
the
fucking
same thing.
awesome.
The same thing they argued that Call of Duty was that it's not this monumental thing that PlayStation does not need to have, and then they be saying that it is by saying that it needs to be 70, but the other games need to be 60.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping actually originally when the acquisition was announced that they would actually lower the price of Call of Duty. to
I was
60
hoping,
bucks.
but I knew.
Yeah, I
knew
mean,
they
it was
wouldn't.
a slim
It's a pipe
chance.
dream.
I wasn't. Yeah, the pipe
Yeah,
dream.
it's definitely
But, you
a
know,
pipe
like
dream.
Sarah Bond in an interview once. I tried finding it. I can't find it, but I remember reading it. She said she was not a fan of the $70 game model.
None of us are
and-
here.
Yeah, and none of us are as well. And I think that ultimately they're doing what they feel they should do or they need to do according to Microsoft. It's all BS though. At the end of the day, I feel like any of these corporations that are making, and remember when they started charging more was before the pandemic when Activision started it and Sony started it was actually pre-pandemic is when they announced this, and then continued into the pandemic when even the profits went even beyond the stratosphere of craziness for all of these companies. They saw astronomical growth, more than they've ever seen before in the entire industry.
Yep.
And then they go back and things get back to pre-pandemic levels, but numbers kind of settle out, but they're still above where they were before the pandemic, and they're still trajecting up, and they're doing really well.
It's record profits across the board there, man.
100%. And you can't ever make a case that it's needed because of some stupid argument like inflation or whatever. Now, the ABK thing, I do agree with you, Umbra. It makes sense, but that's because they plan on charging that $70 still for Call of Duty. But you don't, for me, I still don't think you have to charge more for all your other games just because you're raising them up to that pedestal of Call of Duty, because that's a one game. I mean, that you can't say all your games are a one-off.
Then why would that one game? Why would that one game deserve 70 and others don't?
Mm-hmm. You'd have that argument on Twitter.
Oh,
That's where you run into a
why is
problem.
Minecraft Legends $20-$30? I mean, also Microsoft.
Well,
you already
Minecraft
did
Legends
this.
probably delivers less content. So I mean, they can that argument can go on for
Yeah,
years.
but you can add that to Call of Duty. It's got
also less quality.
It's got
also less
co-op,
quality
it's got
too, though.
single
Like
player.
And
Is it
listen,
4K?
quality is subjective, right? I don't want to get into saying it like that. So let me step back. I'm not trying to say that because
that was my example.
Because Rain still is right on that. It's always subjective. But I
No
look at
matter what.
quality as a certain measure of things they have to hit. The game has to work well. It cannot be some terrible,
It can't be a 60 meta. I'm sorry. It cannot.
It cannot be a 60 meta. It cannot be falling apart when I play and a game freezes up or
No.
you know what I mean?
That's
Or I'm
not
trying
okay.
to jump somewhere and I can't land, or the controls are terrible, or the camera is horrible, like in Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, it's not
But,
okay. Yeah.
it can't be those things. Callisto absolutely did not deserve to be $70. By the way, I just want to throw that out there. It is a good game. It is not $70 worth. Well, no game is to me, but still, just to say, I played God of War. Again, I used the $25, gift card I had, took a lot off. I didn't pay 70 for that, but I can argue that is quality, right? Because you're getting quality voice acting, you're getting great visuals, you're getting great
Quality
music,
mocap.
you're getting great action, you're getting a great story, or at least a decent story. I'll say a good story. I don't want to say great. I don't think it was that great. I think it was good, but. And I struggled to give it a 9. I was at an 8.5 hovering at that. And I saw Funds was talking the same thing. My only thing is to say, with some of the Sony quote unquote bangers, they absolutely deliver when it comes to a lot of those things. Now, it might not be to everybody's liking, because I know plenty of people that don't like God of War. But I'm just saying, you can't argue that they deliver quality when it comes to that. It's just not your style of game. And that's where I want Xbox to be. And it's not to say
it to be if they're gonna charge $70.
Yeah,
100%.
and they need to. And I was having this back and forth with the realist, my buddy realist in the chat, and right here. I expect $20 and $30 games to be great. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But I'm definitely going to hold $70 games to the fire if you're not going to have that be great.
Yeah.
So
That
how
has
are we
to
going to
be.
judge Starfield more because it's 70 than we would have at 60?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean,
You have to.
But
I don't know
it's not
about
going to
that.
be any damn different that the
Don't
$70
care.
as opposed to
It better
60.
be.
You know what's
Right?
different?
But that's the
The
problem.
price I
remember-
right?
So
I remember when Skyrim came out. I remember the dragons dancing because they're clipping through the ground and
Yes.
all that jank that goes with it. And you know what? We're okay with that because Blizzard's beloved. You get rid of that, that goodwill and that love that they have, we start not being okay with that jank. That stuff starts looking bad.
I better have
So-
a 60 frames mode. I'm just saying.
I'm
$20
almost certain.
doesn't
I'm
have
almost
60
certain they
frames?
won't. I
That's
don't
a
think they will.
tall order.
I don't think
Come
they'll
on,
have 60
get-
frames for that game.
it-
Honestly,
Me either.
Optimization is key in gaming these days. And I'm just saying,
Well,
you're
you know what?
charging
Listen.
people $70 for that. You got to optimize it out there.
Man,
I do want to. What I want to do is we're at the 18-minute mark left of the show. We still have over 470 people here. I do want to kind of make this into a bit of a battle royale, so to speak, and I want to get everyone's opinion. Feel free. Don't step on each other. I normally like to go through, but it's such a big panel. The question that I have to ask, a question that many people in the chat that are still here are asking. How bad does this $70 increase for first-party games look on top of Game Pass going up in 2023?
Assuming Game Pass
Assuming
is
it
going
does.
up in
Yes.
2023.
Yeah, assuming that they want to increase prices, of Game
Game
Pass in
Pass?
2023,
I
and the
really
question
hope
is
that's
what
not the
what
case.
I don't
Will
think that's
happen.
going to happen.
It'll happen unless it's a concession.
You might be right about that, but that's
I
I,
think it'll
actually
be a
think that
concession.
concession is
I
there.
think the concession
I really
would be
do.
for consumers. I'd say I think that one of the concessions, what Retri said earlier, is that they may not be allowed, or they may agree to, hey, we're going to keep Game Pass at the current price for 3 years, part of concessions.
I don't think the price is going to change for 5 years.
You need to maintain
Okay.
some goodwill.
I
You,
like
you can't kick people in the balls with $10 extra and then ask them to thank you for charging them more for Game Pass.
I agree.
Well, if I was at Microsoft and I was strategically doing this, I would raise the price of the games first and then Game Pass, right? So I do think the game price increase is a planned precursor for Game Pass, because they're gonna mind trick you into thinking Game Pass has more value now because the dollar amount of the games are more, right? But really, the value is the same because it's the same games. And the games aren't going to be any different than they would have been otherwise. So the value, really, if we're paying the same amount, is the same according to what we're actually playing, right? We don't look at how much a movie costs. It's in Netflix, right, or any of those things. We just consume the content. The value is really the same to the consumer, but they will use that as an excuse.
But we do look
when
at certain
charging
things,
more.
though, Math. We do look at certain things. The actors involved, how the film might look, all these types of things. Who
Yeah,
made
but that's
it,
not
who
changing
directed
because
it.
they're charging $10 extra on the game.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, but you want to
Right?
invest your
Like-
time into it, though. So it's the same
Right.
thing as me playing the game. I'm investing my time for a service. I
Yeah,
paid
and we
for.
judge it based on the quality, which we would have done otherwise, whether the games are $60 or $70, right?
Absolutely.
And,
But
the quality of the content that's in Game Pass is all that matters about what you're willing to pay for Game Pass, right?
Hey, Boom.
So,
Yes, sir.
Pong just dropped some info in chat if you want to.
Let me
It's
see,
pretty
where is
cool
it?
about them dropping demos right now that people can play.
Oh, it's
okay.
probably the ID.
Yeah,
at
yeah, it's the
Xbox.
ID at Xbox
Okay.
thing.
yeah.
That's started.
I apologize for interrupting.
No,
but
that's all right. No,
I'll
that's
just
okay.
I'll just
Super happy.
add this. I'll just add this to it. And this is my thing. And this is what I expect. If they're going to raise the price, it's the same thing for me with Game Pass as it is for the $70 games. Now, listen, I do expect $60 and $50 games and all that to be great, right? But I'm going to put higher, like the Bible, I think, tells you. My grandmother used to always tell me this. With those who have greater power, right? And I'm not going to use Spider-Man. No, I'm not going to say great power. Might as well.
Wait for that.
No, she said, how did she say it? She said, for those that know better and do wrong, they get many stripes, right? So they'll get more done wrong to them, or they'll be disciplined more because you know better and you still delivered less, so you did worse. If they're going to charge us those games, there's no question those games have to deliver, right? But if you're going to charge us more for Game Pass, I expect the world. Not only do your first party games need to be great, you're going to have to get some quality third party games in there too. And they've been doing that to their credit. But I need to see some day one launches of AAA games from third party or AA games like that launching into the service too.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's unfair to ask.
I don't think it's going up because Family Plan is going to be dropping, and it's going to
Yes.
be dropping soon.
I agree.
So
Yes.
that's got to that better be $25, because if you're giving it to them, you better give it to us for the same price.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think Game Pass Ultimate to Family Plan, 15 to 25 is a good gap. I can't see it being 25 Family Plan and 20 for Game Pass Ultimate. I don't see it. I see it maybe in the future. I don't see it anytime soon.
Well, I hope not, because if unfortunately Microsoft, if there's one thing that they unfortunately are known for, and that is shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They unfortunately have done it. The two principles seem to have been forgotten in business school. The two M's, folks: messaging and marketing. And unfortunately, Microsoft sometimes forgets those two very, very important letters when it comes to comes to the business aspect of it. Yes, their games are going up by $10. Okay, we've talked about it. This is probably the only time we're going to continue to talk about it, because we're not going to drive this into the ground. We gave our pieces. People in the chat, over 500 showed up today to give their opinions on it. We love you for it. And the only way that we talk about this again in 2023 is if by some chance they decide that it's better. It's a good PR move, and I'm telling anyone at Microsoft that listens to this show, and I know that they do, and I'm very humbled by that. Don't do that. If you want to show inherent value in your service, which it is a tremendous amount of value, and next year it's going to be up to our eyeballs in games.
Man,
you can't raise the price of Game Pass now. If you do that, you are potentially going to turn off a ton of new potential customers for a service that you want to reach 2 to 3 billion gamers. Don't do that.
I don't think they will. I think
I hope that
the next 5 years. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. Oh no. It will happen. It will definitely happen. The question is whether it will be in the first or second half of 23.
Well, I mean, again,
guessing summer.
We are going to have to see, but I think the value is going to have to be matched.
That'll be a concession. I think that's the number one thing that they would ask for.
I think that, especially specifically the FTC, will be looking at the consumer.
Yeah, because that's the one thing to look at is cost to the consumer, Xbox can get away with the $70 thing because it's a status quo across the industry now. But they're the ones that have the popular subscription in gaming.
Yes, so, I actually think that they would agree to, and I think they would handily agree to. Hey, we're not going to raise Game Pass for 3 years. We're going to offer the family plan. Come the start of 2023, maybe in that family plan, we're going to get Ubisoft Plus into it. There's a lot of back end stuff that's going to make this value. And we were originally going to talk
that's when it would raise.
Yeah,
that happens. Yeah. See, that's my thing. It's not if in its current standing, the price is not going to go up for 5 years. I believe because if you're going to bring in the family plan, also you're already adding an additional perceived value, right? The other thing too is that the only thing that would make that price goes up is if they give us additional perceived value,
additional content.
Ubisoft Plus would be that. Ubisoft Pro would be that. EA Play Pro would be that.
Yeah,
true. There's other things that go into that, so it's like
give me my World of Warcraft sub.
Buy WB Discovery and put HBO Max in there.
Xbox cuts deals all the time to give us, hey, here's Disney Plus for this month, here's Hulu for this month, here's Netflix. So you never know, and it's always going to come down to, is the perceived value to us worth it? Because at the end, I can't believe that Xbox is ignorant in that fact.
Yeah. So what you're saying,
I agree.
You can't, but I can.
So what you're saying is how is a company supposed to treat their customers? You underpromise and overdeliver. Yes. They're not delivering.
Right.
They haven't delivered.
Yes.
They're promising, but they haven't delivered.
Yeah. Let's remember that value.
I love Pentiment.
Sorry. The value that Steele was talking about.
I had to show you some love.
Might be not Ubisoft. It might just be Xbox. We haven't had the first party games yet. So their increase could be, hey, here's all the 4 bangers. Sorry, saying bangers
with our own games. So now
exactly.
You know the beautiful thing.
That's how they might be thinking.
You know the beautiful thing though. We're in December already.
Yep.
We have literal months before we start getting these quote unquote bangers.
Yeah, again, time is definitely on our side.
I don't want to open a can of worms, but do y'all think there's something to the timing being on a Monday? They never release bad news on a Monday. The Game Awards are this week, right? So unless they were going to announce a release date and where pre-orders go back live or whatever, and people find out $70, I think Monday is the day where we get.
Can we put our spin foil hats on for a little bit?
Well, no, actually, we're gonna have to come back to that, brother, because I got to go pick up my rent-a-car because obviously my truck's gonna be out of service for 2 weeks, which again didn't. It was a very expensive morning. But I do want to say this: we will return to that conversation at another point. I want to thank the over 500 people that were here. I think everyone on the panel absolutely delivered, like rock stars that you are. I do want to get to, we do have a couple of super chats that I have to just catch up with, and then we will get everyone out of here. Let me just pull up we have Drawn TJ drops in a very generous additional $2 super chat and says Xbox games should be $40. I think all games should be $40, but that will never happen. Libra X CHF drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, is it possible that Phil and Satya had to agree to the price increase in 2023 to get shareholders to sign off on allocating $70 billion to the Xbox deal? Activision Blizzard. Maybe, but
shareholders are on board. They're looking.
They're already on board because they were on there from the beginning. They actually asked Phil Spencer who's next after Bethesda, which is they want to make more money.
Yeah, they had to get it approved.
They're going to do it again after ABK. I bet you money.
Yep.
Oh, yo, there's no doubt about it. Adidas 20 drops a $5 super chat and says Microsoft's first party games are going to Game Pass day one. They want more Game Pass subscribers. People will say $10 is better than 10 is better than 70. I mean, there's no doubt about it that this could be a push to get people that have been on the fence of joining first party a day and date, and this again could be a ploy. Raiden Blade, who's been a channel member for 1 year, drops a £2 super chat and says it's their next gen only first party games. Yes, it is. But again, we're going to get to the minutia of this in coming weeks. Microsoft has to answer the call, and I'm hoping that they do listen to shows like this and they pull the reins back on these 3 delayed games and keep them at $60. I think that is a big ask, and I think it's an ask that they can answer. But let's start with the let's go with the outros. Retri, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where they can find you on social media, and more importantly, what else you got going on.
Yeah. So Game Pass Daily, you can find me on Twitter. I'm very active on there 5 days a week, creating video content for you guys. Everything about Game Pass, as well as YouTube and TikTok. I'm trying to be everywhere. So any information you guys want to know about Game Pass, follow me.
Excellent. Good stuff, brother. And again, that's what I got to do. I get into some of the short content. Apparently, that is a big thing. Steel Rain, sell your brand, brother. Talk about living split screen each and every Saturday morning with your brother from another Pong Soul. Talk about it, brother.
Hey, well, thanks, Boom panel, for having me on today. I just want to say it was a fantastic time. Everybody had varying opinions, and just because it seemed like we all agree, we still hit it from multiple angles, which is always a beautiful thing.
Yep.
With that being said, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time, I host a non-console centric platform with my brother from another Pawn Soul called Living Split Screen. Come check us out. Again, we take that RTS approach. For those who aren't familiar, real-time strategy. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you pull yourself out of the world, look at the darker crevices in the map, pull those resources together and build up that foundation, and try to reach those 3 billion gamers that Phil always speaks about. I do want to mention as because I am a Halo stan, and I know people have been seeing it in the chat, but I got to make it part of the outro because people thought we were going to have to wait longer for this. The custom game browser is now available in Halo.
That is a big deal.
So if you guys thought their Halo was dead, I think we might find out.
Oh, it's not dead.
Forge has been lighting a fire. But anyway, neither here or there. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, panel. Y'all are amazing, brothers. Shout out to you guys. And y'all stay easy, man. Much love. Peace.
Thank you, brother. Great to be a part of it. Hey, Boxing Burger, sell your brand, brother, so you can get going do your food shopping, because we know you're waiting to get on that. Where can people check out your weekly show? Where can people reach out to you on social media? And what else you got going on?
Yeah, thanks for having me again, man. That was an awesome panel. Shout out to all of you. And people can find me everywhere under Boxenberger. Super easy, just like the name here. And yeah, like you said, we have our weekly show, The World of Gaming, each and every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. UK time or 8 p.m. Central Europe. So definitely check that out. We also have started a Discord channel where we are super active, having great conversations. It's open for everyone. So if you want to join, just hang with us on Discord. Otherwise, people can find me everywhere, on TikTok, on Twitter, on the Hive. Yeah, so I'm always open for gaming discussions. So definitely check that out.
Hey, Archie, 2 hours later, were you still eating that same sandwich?
No, I'm eating M&Ms actually now.
All right. Moved on. All right. I was just making sure. Okay.
Like, boy, those asparagus last long, don't they?
Tough asparagus.
Yeah. Absolutely. Infinite Umbra, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where they can find you on Friday evenings on the Xbox Infinite podcast, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes, absolutely. You all can find me on Xbox Infinite this Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern. And of course, you can find me here on Tuesdays at noon Eastern. Yeah, you guys can find me on Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on Twitter. Either way, you'll find me. Yeah, lock me in. I'll lock you in back, and we can chat and talk games. I'm excited and a little off-putting right now because of the Halo thing. I'm over here celebrating and losing my mind.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you can find these custom games super easy.
Yes,
on all these maps. I think that is going to, because one of the hidden gems of Forge is the fact that people are making maps and they're doing it at
Gorgeous
record
map,
races,
too.
and they're gorgeous. I saw an
Yeah.
Aliens one, and I was like,
Yep.
"Oh my god, I want to play on that."
Oh, I
There's
saw
just
that
no
one.
way to find
Oh,
it.
that pirate ship one
Yep.
looks fun as heck.
Oh,
Super-
that pirate ship one
it's
looks
super
really
easy.
Dude,
good.
I
navigate.
think this brings back Halo in a big way.
But you all see the Squid
I-
Games, though.
I'm
The Squid
hoping.
Games.
Yes.
Oh, changing realms. That one?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I can't. I
green
hope
light?
that. I hope that at some point they do work this into where you just hit a button and you're just thrown into a
Mhm.
custom game with randos and you just.
That's how it is.
They need
Yeah,
to bring it
and-
into
okay.
That's how it's set
matchmaking.
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. That's
Oh,
what I was
wait.
gonna
Is it
ask
in
you.
matchmaking right now?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not like you have to go to. It's like, I don't know if you guys have played similar games where they have multiplayer where you can go on, but they also have like a custom browser where there's people are hosting matches and they
Okay.
have whatever
Okay.
map, whatever
Okay.
game mode, and you just kind of
Yeah.
you just join in on them.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like from what I've seen. That's how that works. So
Okay, I
whoever's
see what
hosting
you're
one, you
saying.
just jump in with them, and then boom.
Yeah. Well, I want them to
Nice.
bring it to matchmaking proper.
Okay, got
bring
Me
it-
too.
that's what I want.
Matchmaking
That'd be
proper
the next
gives us,
step. That'd be the next
points where we can upgrade our stuff, and hopefully that in fact is the case.
That'd be
But
dope.
we'll take the little wins.
Love to the rest of the Avengers today, by the way. You all
Indeed,
did great.
brother.
Yeah.
Thank
And,
you,
and
thank
shout
you.
out to the chat. You all held our feet to the fire. You came and brought it too. So thank you all for being here
100%.
for us.
Yes, absolutely. Daniel McGee, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where they can check out your incredible long content, and more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel and reach out to you on social media.
Yes, sir. So you can find me on Twitter at Daniel J McGee, or on YouTube at just Daniel McGee. We got news, we got reviews. I just posted a video about all my opinions on the new generation of Pokemon. The video's way longer than I thought it was going to be, but if you were curious what I think about those new Pokemon designs, I talk about it potentially ad nauseum. So please stop on by.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, I just bought the 2 new Pokemon games. I bought the double pack. I got free, 200 Pokeballs free. It's technically my first Pokemon game because it's open world.
Hey.
So I'm jumping in. I can't wait for that. Mav, sell your brand, brother. Talk about fun speculation on YouTube, where they can subscribe to that, and where can people reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, thanks for everybody having an awesome show today. It was absolutely a blast. Different opinions, a lot of the same opinions, but also said in different ways
stuff,
as well.
man.
It was great stuff. Check out PM in the PM Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll actually be going live a little early, I believe, this week because we are going to be co-streaming the Game Awards with Fun Speculation Family. Whoever's is available is going to hop in with us, and we'll have a blast co-streaming that. Look forward to maybe Redfall release date dropping there. I think we'll see. And then Friday's Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern time again this week. And then Monday's Fun Speculation Podcast also at 10 p.m. Eastern. Game streams and all this kind of stuff. We try and do a lot of different things and have a blast with the community. But yeah, check it out. Fun Speculation YouTube, Fun Speculation Twitter.
Thanks so much. And last and no way least, Justin saying, brother, sell your brand, brother. Talk about what you got going on, and more importantly, where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel and reach out to you on social media.
Hey, thanks, Boom. Right now, I'm just kind of making friends, man. I'm this community. My portion of the community is growing. And I'm having fun. You can find me over on Steam Gaming News on Sunday.
Oh yeah, he's botting bad. Yeah.
Botting,
you know,
bro.
Yeah, you're botting bad.
Oh.
Actually, you were frozen for a minute, and then now you're frozen again. It's probably the connection, brother. Hey, listen, Justin's saying you got to get out there and support him. He's new to the community, new voice in the community. Obviously, he's doing some good stuff, good work.
Any better?
Yes, much better.
There you
Yes, yes. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Like I said, right now, my community is growing, and Sundays I'm on Sane Gaming News at 6 Eastern. I'm kind of evolving that. I'm trying to find a way to be different, to stand out from everybody else, and I want to make it a community thing. And I also want to use it to be able to help out my friends, my co-streamers, and the people that follow me, help them discover new stuff. So there's going to be more and more on that lately. Boom, I really need to talk to you about that. I'm really excited about a project that I'm working on. And other than that, you can always find me on Twitter at JustinSane85, capital J, capital S, and talk to a few other creators. And you'll see me on a few other people's channels here real soon.
Nice. Well, good stuff, brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be your Xbox Factor podcast for this Tuesday. Hopefully, you enjoy the rest of your week. A lot of games to play. Obviously, well, I'm going to be tuning into a lot of other podcasts that are going to be talking about this $10 increase. I'm glad that we had this conversation. We had a monster panel. We had a monster chat, over 500 people. A big shout out to all of the incredible and generous super chats that have come in. We cannot do this without you. That and channel memberships. As a matter of fact, there was a new channel member. Let me just see who that was. Boy, I want to give them the proper shout out. Z Fold RTV, who's become a new channel member. Brother, thank you so much for that. It's very kind of you. And that gets you into the drawing for the first half of next week's $1,000 giveaway. $500 up front are going to channel members. 5 $100 gift cards to your choice of platform. Second half of the show is going to be the additional $500. Again, 5 more $100 gift cards of your choice. And if you're in the chat and the picker picks you, you win. But ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.